So this is why I haven't been videoing and posting lately. Had a dead tree in my yard. And as you can tell, suddenly it's fall. And I had to get it cut up and taken care of before the winter comes. And we get ice storms and it makes trees fall over. So, sorry guys. So I decided I didn't like how ghetto this elbow looks. So I actually finally found one of these, just a straight connector, which, believe it or not, took me a little bit of time. So anyway, I'm going to replace that elbow real quick before I move on to any of the other stuff. So getting started on the passenger side piping, here's what I have left right now. Pipe around the front axle, it still has to be modified. Another pipe that connects to the rocker panel and the two rocker panel pipes. The pipe that goes over the passenger side axles in the rear, and then the one that connects to the pipes. So the plan is right now, I'm going to go ahead and weld the pipes together that go inside the rocker panel, get a jump start on that, so that whenever I get the car up in the air this weekend and I start working on it, I can go ahead and just put it all together. Alright, I got the tab bent out of the way, and this wire plugs into it. So once you get it bent kind of in 180 degrees, just plug your wire back into it. It'll hold your wire in place. The other thing I would suggest is that blinker or running light, I would take that out, and it's pretty easy. Just pinch these two little things, and then it pops out. The reason I'm doing this is because on the other side I actually broke this little tab whenever I was trying to get the pipe in here. So I'll kind of see if I can show you guys the way it looks. So it goes kind of like that. And then over here, it goes inside like that. And I'm actually gonna have to tweak it just a little bit because this pipe is a larger diameter. It doesn't fit just right. Alright, after about 20 minutes of finagling, that's what I've got so far. So I've got it 90'd on the turbo. Comes up right here, 90's right there, goes back behind that bracket, and then also it fits up in there like that. Next step is down inside here, right there. That's where I've got to bend the frame. So what I'm going to do is take a Dremel, and I'm going to probably cut right here above, right between these two welds, cut right there, and then I'll just bend this out of the way. Alright, so I got everything to fit over here. Got my piece bent out of the way. Got a little piece of tubing. See it will just barely fit in there. But it fits, so got it bent out of the way. So started moving up to the front here to get the pipe done inside the rocker panel. New problem. The computer is in the way. So if you remember, on the other side, the pipe comes out of the rocker panel right here, and it kind of wraps around and goes underneath there. And I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to solve this problem yet. I think what I'm going to do is just relocate the computer up in here. This is just a drain tube. When all the water comes down off your windshield, it drains through here. Here's the main harness. I think there's enough room in there that I can probably remount the computer up and in there. But I'll see what I can come up with and keep you posted. Alright, so the computer issue solved. So what you gotta do is pop this thing loose from the computer, and the bracket that it mounts to right here, take the bracket off and the computer off, flip the bracket upside down. So here's a hole and here's a hole right here. Well, they were actually mounted right here. The one right here is actually wider than right here. They're wider, they're further apart. So you have to turn the bracket over so that the single hole is on the top and the two holes are on the bottom. I've got one more bolt running around somewhere, but the two holes go on the bottom. And then use this, wrap it around right here, and zip strip this guy to this hole right here. You also need to take this harness right here that comes from up here, and you need to zip tie it back so that it's not touching the computer right here. The reason you don't need to let it touch the computer is because these are heat sinks, which means this thing is going to get hot, and you don't want anything touching it. That's why it's not actually touching the frame. It's mounted on this bracket. It'll help insulate it from vibration as well. So zip strip this guy out of the way so that it's not touching the computer and it's not flapping loose. And I'll probably throw another zip strip up in there somewhere else. And zip strip this guy out of the way. Use this bracket right here. You can zip strip this guy out of the way. And that's pretty much it. Then after I did that, this pipe actually fits underneath here quite well. It actually is going to go about like that. So not too bad. About 10 minutes worth of work. Alright, so I got all my wiring and everything secured in there. I've got this mounted the way I want it mounted. Now I've got all the piping connected from the turbo all the way to right here. And now I've got to figure out how to cut this pipe, because this pipe is 2 feet too long. Maybe a foot too long. Yeah, I guess it's about a foot too long. But that's okay. I'd rather it be longer than shorter. So I've got to kind of modify it. So we'll cut it and then weld it right here so that it fits in there. And I think if I had been a little more careful about how I chose these pipes, they would have fit fine. But I didn't care. Alright, see if we can get a good straight cut. Not a bad cut. Alright. And it is just about perfect. Given this pipe is so short right here, and it's given the fact that this is actually sticking out of the rocker panel, I could actually get away with putting a clamp there. Putting a clamp there, the clamp here. But I really like how clean it is just welding these guys together. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to go ahead and weld it just because I like the durability and the cleanness of it all. I'll give you guys a peek of how I decided to do my computer here. So you can see I've got it zip tied to where there's plenty of room between the pipe and the wiring harness. It is touching right here, but it should be okay. I don't anticipate any problems. I got this guy tied away. Comes out from underneath there. I got it tied back to this brace back here. So it's never going to touch. These are kind of attached up here by these two snaps. Got the main harness zip strip back here. I took the water tube and ran it back behind here, and it fits down nicely so that there's no water dripping on this pipe. So everything's really good, secured in place. Using nothing but what was there from the factory and a couple cable ties.